is Kudzayi Ziso. I am a portfolio manager working for an insurance company in Johannesburg, South Africa. We manage investment portfolios for retirement funds and a wide array of corporates. I grew up in Harare in Zimbabwe and did all my primary and secondary education there before coming to South Africa to study at the University of Cape Town. I came with an intention of being an accountant. For my A levels, I was one of the top students in my accounting class, so I was determined to become an accountant. So I did a BCom in accounts, and at the end of my third year, I just was not enjoying it, and I hadn't been as successful at it, getting distinctions as I would have liked to. So I was faced with the conundrum of in which direction do I want my career to go into. I had three choices, and I was a little bit disappointed that what I really had wanted to be, which was a chartered accountant, was feeling a little bit far-reaching, and I thought, okay, my other alternatives would be to become a chartered management accountant, or to go into investment management. This is an area which we had just touched upon briefly, and I enjoyed thoroughly. And just in terms of what I used to read, it was something that was of interest to me. So I was also fortunate in that I had quite a lot of people who would give me information about all these careers. So I just felt that the one I would enjoy the most was taking the avenue of investment management. So I charted out a path for myself where I would aim to qualify within that field. It was very important to me right from the onset that I get a professional qualification, not only to stand out when it came to the time of interviews, especially being in a foreign country and having to justify me as a hire. I was very much aware of the fact that I needed to stand out somehow. In addition to that, I just also wanted to keep my options open and have a qualification that would allow me to be credible worldwide. So no matter where I would end up, I wouldn't have to start again by proving myself or my skills. So just to go into a little bit more detail about my current position and what I do, we basically meet and try to understand our clients' investment objectives and come up with a solution. In other words, a basket of investments that would give us the highest probability of meeting their objectives. And this obviously takes place over a long period of time, where an investor's investment horizon can be 3 years, can be 5 years, can be 10 years, can be really long term. So we need to take all of those things into consideration and then put a solution in place that gives us the best likelihood of achieving that goal. So a typical day for me, especially now that we're working from home, is that I meet often with my team members, and we discuss a lot about what's happening in the market, how that affects our portfolios, and we have regular scheduled meetings where we review our portfolios for the risks that are in the portfolios. We have money coming in and out of the portfolios on a daily basis, so we have to manage for those flows, just to make sure that nothing goes um, unplanned, yeah. And yeah, I mean, especially in the COVID era, you really have to stay on top of the markets and the news, and how all the news flow is affecting the value of our clients' portfolios. So, in terms of my career build up, I've mentioned already how I had quite a focused approach to where I wanted to go to. It's been a long road to get to where I had set my goals, but if anything, this whole journey has taught me patience and perseverance, and basically finding ways around obstacles to get to the goal that you've set for yourself. In terms of the education that one would need if they were to want to get into investments, um, I find that the best sort of teams are diverse teams. So really, I suppose it would seem natural that someone who's more of a number cruncher would 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 do well in this industry. But there are also other places where if you are more inclined to the arts and writing, you could end up in the communications department, or copywriting. And I mean, there's so much that goes into what we do, the advertising and marketing that goes with our investments, the IT and um, digital background needed for where we're going. And just being a methodical person who can deal with a lot of moving parts at the same time, are all valuable traits to to get into this industry. And in terms of how I financed my education, I was extremely fortunate that my parents sacrificed quite a lot to make sure that I could go to university. And it's only when I started working that I realized how fortunate I was, as you'd start realizing some people had to, maybe take loans to go to school, which obviously is fine. If that's the way that you need to go. But yeah, I'm forever grateful for the opportunities that were afforded to me without really having too much else to focus on while I was at school. Now, in terms of the things that could affect our industry going forward, and I think a lot about this in terms of how can I future-proof myself for where the world is going. If you think about how technology has advanced in the last even 20 years. I was just thinking about it the other day, that it's been 20 years since I left high school, and so much has changed. Just in terms of communication, I remember buying those little phone cards that you would put in the phone to phone home. Now, where would you even use a landline? Most people don't even know in fact, my children, it surprises me when they see an old cell phone and they kind of pick it up and say hello, because I'm like, where do you even know that from? Because so much has changed over time. So one of the things that could affect our industry is going to be artificial intelligence, and how basically what I do, some of the things that I do could be done by a machine. Of course, there's some judgment elements which only a human being can do, but I think as time goes on, there's going to be a lot less required of our brain power, as machines and machine learning, and that just make it all the more easier to do some of the things that we do. Digitalization as well, and the way in which the world is going in that direction. You know, it's at a fast pace, and if you think about digital money and the way people transfer money to each other from one place to the next, and just opening up the world to investors and being able to invest anywhere, and all of that. Those are some of the things that are top of mind as to where our future is going in the investment world. Equally important is basically how we direct our investments and the causes that they support. You know, if you think about climate change and how just taking into account sustainable investments will affect future income. You know, there's a lot of power in that if you support causes that are more sustainable, then you know we definitely will be looking at a brighter future. But I really have spoken about quite a lot of tidbits here and there, but I just want to round off by talking about you know, what I'm most passionate about is really the advancement of women, especially. And I really admire women who are able to put their lives together in a way that, you know, they don't get consumed by any one aspect of their lives so much. As one tends to get into this phase of life where you're basically pulled in about 10 different directions at any one time, to stay happy, motivated, kind, active, and supportive of you know the people around you and all of that. I really aspire to be like people who are like that. So those are the things that inspire me the most. I hope from the information that I've shared today, you can have some more questions on, or at least have a light bulb moment of thinking about, oh, okay, this is something that I hadn't thought about, and can just give you some insight into what you would like for yourself in the future going forward. And yeah, I'll sign off with that. It's been good to hang around and give you some insight into my life. Thank you for your time. Thanks.